Hello and welcome back to the California Cannabis Report. I'm your host, Jared Schwass, and we have another exciting episode for you today. We go back up to Mendocino County where we interview Doc Ray from Doc Ray Genetics and Terps by Doc and Bentley. We talk about his genetics that he's been cultivating for decades, a little bit about his history in the Emerald Triangle, both Mendocino and Humboldt County, and we talk about the plans for Terps, what Terps means. I hope you enjoy it. If you do, smash that like button, hit the subscribe, and hit the bell notification so you're notified when we upload. Helps the page a lot. I appreciate you guys. All right, let's go see what's been growing up the mountains. Come on, let's go. Welcome to Willits, California. I'm here with Doc Ray, legendary breeder of Doc Ray Genetics. Recently started a business with Bentley, Terps by Doc and Bentley, ex Green Beret, legendary breeder. Thanks for inviting me up to Willits.
Buddy, it's good to have you here today. You know, you're kind of in the heart of the Emerald Triangle. I lived in this community for close to 2 decades before retiring a little farther north up into Humboldt County, where I have my current indoor facility there. I'm in the cannabis innovation zone there. I have a 10,000 square foot micro business there, vertically integrated from seed to consumer now. But I cut my teeth in this neighborhood for many, many, many years, lived in this town for over 20 years. And then I spent the bulk of my time up in Spy Rock and back in Green Mountain. You know, it's part of my legacy. It's part of being an old Green Mountain grower and just being in this neighborhood. This is the heart of craft cannabis in my book. And, you know, I'm not telling you anything that you don't know. You're a Ukiah boy. You know, we're in northern Mendocino County and cannabis is kind of a culture and a way of life here. Yeah. Anyway, glad to be with you this morning.
I'm happy to be here as well. And let's dive into a little bit. It's good. People who, I don't know if people who wouldn't know, but dive into a little bit of your background, how you got started into cannabis. I know you're from Ukiah, but talk about your introduction into the industry, your first grows. Kind of walk us through that process.
Cool. I've been cultivating for I can't believe it, over 50 years now. I started like a lot of kids do. You know, I was a teenager in high school, smoked my first joint, summer 1970. And it just has transitioned over that time. In my military career, obviously, I wasn't growing cannabis, but I used the plant extensively after my military career for my well-being. My first grow attempt in high school was like in 72, which puts me at 50 years at this. And that's kind of where it is now. I don't feel like I'm as old as I am, but, looking back now, and it's been 5 decades has passed. And then as I got into after I got out of the military, when I kind of got into what was going on with the game, so to speak, I really delved into just producing like really fine quality flower for myself. I want to grow my own medicine. I am an old vet. I've been blown up a couple of times. I've been fragged once and stabbed once, and I get holes all in me and scars and shit, and a couple bad Harley wrecks and stuff like that. So I didn't really want alcohol, or I don't drink alcohol very much anymore, and I didn't want opioids, which is what they were giving me for pain. It was hydrocodone back in the day, just 750 milligram Vicodins, just running out my freaking ears. I didn't want that. I turned to this plant in the 70s and have been using it for my well-being ever since. And in the last 40, 50 years have been a cultivator, and just happened to be blessed to be in this neck of the woods. Didn't really even understand what we were like, what this area is back in the 80s or even 90s so much. I get it now at this stage of the game because of this whole commercial market that's come out in the last 15 or 18, 20 years, that kind of like post 2000, that whole thing. So, but looking at it now, it just, this is really, this is a way of life here. So kind of got up on what you're asking, how did I get going into it? I just, I started growing plants in my garden like everybody, tomatoes and green beans. And, I had a couple pot plants in my yard. it just kind of morphed into what it is now. The whole brand, my thread with veterans cannabis, just the flowers that I have commercialized in for, post-traumatic stress and pain control is all stuff that I worked on over the decades here. Just as part of, I guess, the journey in being in this game, right? So from cultivating first grow, there weren't any books. We're just a bunch of kids. We didn't know what we were doing. We didn't know how to sex male plants from female plants. We were just throwing seeds in the ground, seeing what we could do to where now we are the men and women, the old players of us that have been around for, we are the ones in the books that they're referencing and talking about and all that kind of jazz, or, formulas that we give them and dirt recipes that we share with the community at large. Now that we've kept it secret, that's kind of where it's changed. Just in my own business, like I have a lot of ancillary stuff, like my dirt blend and nutrient blends of, Doc's dirt and all this kind of other stuff that you can get in my shop that I wouldn't have given to anybody more than a man in the moon 3 decades ago, because that was my secret. Those were my secrets. And now my team and just marketing and business and commercialization, it's part of that whole moving it that way, man, where there's as much money in the ancillary side of the thing as there is in the actual flower production side of the thing. So being competitive in the cannabis industry in 2022 in the United States of America, man, you got to be running it on all sides of the thing if you're going to survive as a small mom and pop or a small independent, which I am. I'm a one-man operation. I got a couple of employees, and it's just me and my little, my little grow and my little facility that I have. I just am blessed with the facility that I've been able to acquire and been able to secure over the last couple of years. It's just been a lot of hard work to get it to that point. And anyway, did I answer what you were asking? I'm smoking my flower right now, so I got a little winded on you, folks. So,
yeah, no, you completely answered the question, and you've been in it for so long. There's enforcement has been stiff history with industry. Do you have you had any run-ins with enforcement, with camp, with the sheriff's department?
Oh, back in the day,
Yeah,
of course, man. I was inland up on north of town here, back up off the 162, which is going into Covelo. We got flown every day, man. Camp and Comet staged on us on our old farm. They staged on us every day, and I got my first permit in 97, my first medical permit in 97 when the law switched in 96. And my old land partner and I, we ran on that for many, many years, just we're going to try and play by their rules. The county was switching the rules, from 10 plants to 100 square feet to, you can have so many plants per car, and all the way it's switched to where we don't even have those rules anymore. That was always the law enforcement aspect of it that we took for granted. It was part of being in the business. You just had to assume if you were going to be in where we were, up in just south of Laytonville, that you were going to be encroached on by law enforcement and rippers or anybody else trying to do us harm. It's like, yeah, we were flown every day. I've been handcuffed, had dirt kicked in my face, been laughed at, had my plants ripped up. Got grown ass kids that were taken away from me. They're in their 40s now and late 30s that were taken away from me in the mid 80s over this plant, over a minuscule amount of flower by today's standards. We didn't do this because we wanted to commercialize it. We did it because we gave a fuck about it and we love the plant. And my personal, I don't take opioids. I don't drink a lot of alcohol. I use this plant. And this is where my medicine comes from, as well as my intoxicant, my personal well-being. That's where this plant comes from. For me personally, this is more than just making money at it. It's part of my lifestyle. It's part of who I am. And now everybody sees me, they just know I'm a pot guy, or a weed man. They just look at me and just assume that if I'm not reeking, that I look like I'm, you hung out with me all day yesterday. You were in my group of friends yesterday, and the cultivators and breeders that I run around with that event we were doing. It's like, this is a unique dying breed of special human beings that have loved this plant long before it was ever legal, and that's still fighting for it now, so that's part of who I am from that end of it. So the encroachment part of law enforcement, it was just kind of a given we were going to get, we didn't want it, but we were prepared for it. And, choppers and fixed wing, man, literally look them in the eye. I was up so high one time, and the guy in a fixed wing flying by, I could see his sunglasses as he went by, And
Yeah.
it's just, do they see you whizzing by? They don't see you whizzing by 90% of the time. And so like when we got through the 70s and 80s, and then when 215 happened in 96, we had that little shift right there. Then we didn't the first year, but the second year, okay, my partner, not old partner and I, we kind of made a pact, okay, we're going to put a little bit of it out in full sun in pods, and we were on the top of a ridge, and it got flown every day, and it never got raided. We kind of assumed they were like, they were using this as a train. And I may be just completely out of my mind. They were using this as like a train. Hey, man, that's what it looks like in those big pots, Okay, now go find it out there in that forest. We were kind of looking at it that way, that we had our permits, old school, stapled to a 4x8 sheet of plywood on angled up, and you see a bunch of white pagers up by the gate everywhere, locked with all the shit on the gate so they wouldn't come in there. And they drove by us for many, many years and never encroached on us. Before that time, it was always a fight.
Yeah.
It was always a fight. So anyway.
How does it feel now to be, because you had to deal, because there was always that fight with the enforcement now, and you always had to kind of work in the shadows. Now you're out in the open, doing interviews. How does that transition feel into the regulated market?
Oh, okay. So the last 6+ years, I've come above board. I got out of the game in 03 here. I rode off. I was mad as a hornet because the market was crashing after 9/11 happened. The market was crashing here. We were still getting rolled over. I rode off in like 03 and was on my Harley for 6 years, and I got hurt real bad in the middle of the country and got out of the game for a while. When I came back into the game, I came in, regulation was all in place, so I went and got that. If I'm going to do this again, I mean, honestly, Jared, if I'm going to do this again, I have to be permitted, above board. So again, what you were involved in, how many cannabis lawyers were in the house yesterday in that crowd? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We had a 10-to-1 ratio of cannabis lawyers. You know what I mean? Right? You were in the room. There was literally 1 cannabis lawyer for every 10 people or better there yesterday. Right? So that's kind of what that group of men and women, they haven't been what I've been doing for the last 5 years. And the only reason why I say that, I've been in enough houses in the neighborhood here and around enough families, and in my own family in this neighborhood here, my family's been here forever. It's like, oh man, how do I put this? It's just such a shift to be where we are now. Okay, when I got back into it, I already knew what they were going to do to us. Okay, and look what's happening. This one time, look what's happening right now. There's such this encroachment on the legacy market by multi-state operators and big, deep-pocketed, multi-million-dollar freaking conglomerates here in the state that are pushing us out, man. I wasn't going to let that happen and fight so hard. So, now I have lawyers, I have branding agreements, contracts on everything, people around me much smarter than I am at what you guys do. Let me do what I do, you do what you do, and make sure that with Dale, my guy, okay, with Dale, the first thing I said, but I'm outlaw, man. Keep me between the guardrails.
Yeah.
Make sure I don't go back to a prison cell. Keep me between the guardrails. And, if I'm doing something wrong, tell me, and what you get now is 6 years of me being in it, fighting it, living it, talking it, breathing it, being in it, engaging it. And now, because I'm speaking about it, all this other stuff, the deal we were doing yesterday, and telling people how I got to. Yesterday. How in the hell did you do that? I thought everybody was doing it, Jared. I really thought everybody was permitting themselves, branding themselves, doing making their own paths. And as we found out, we're just kind of scratching the surface on that. Right? Yeah. So I came into this new approach, not being hammered on by law enforcement, because I'm playing by the state of California rules. I have all the permitting. I pay an exorbitant amount of fees being up in Humboldt County to have that permitting. But I pay workers' compensation. I have employees. I pay payroll tax. I have a bank account. All these things that navigate, and I have people that do all that shit to keep me between the guidelines, so I can be the cultivator. So
no, it's you need a team around you, and like with the with the venture backed, capital backed companies coming in, it's important because they have all the team, and it's important to have that support. It's a whole new game when you're compared to what you're doing before.
1,000%.
So as you mentioned, we're lucky to be from this area. It's a world-renowned area to grow cannabis. Mendocino County, Humboldt County. Why do you think that is, other than just the renegade spirit that exists? I mean, that's a huge part of that from this area. But why do you think this area is so great for growing great cannabis?
Oh, it's the terroir, 1,000%. The terrain that we're in, the proximity to the ocean, all of those things play into the different valleys and appellations all through this area. All the different little nuances from microclimate to microclimate, but the region as a whole, the original Emerald Triangle, what I consider Mendocino, my home county, and then Humboldt, where I retired to, in Trinity County, I consider that the true triangle. I consider that to be the true Emerald Triangle. So I consider that region, that whole area, if you look at it geographically on the map, and its proximity to the ocean, 300 days of sunshine, give or take, that kind of thing. It all plays into the hot interior temperatures, like what the mountain valleys get in here. We'll get those nice hot temperatures in the summer. That all plays portion to it, and I believe the triangle, okay, from the renegade spirit, man, we have not grown cannabis here for decades and decades and decades. We've grown cannabis here we never stopped, and that's the truth of that. So
yeah,
my mentors, man, I got mentors been gone for a decade, and they started coming up here in the 50s growing, so.
Yeah. And so Doc Ray Genetics, you've been around for, like you said, you've been growing these genetics for over 50 years. But let's talk about the new company you just started with, Bentley, Terps. Can you kind of go explain, how you and Bentley came into the partnership? Explain the brand a little bit, and tell us about even the name, like what why tell us the story about the brand.
So the Terps brand is that's Terps by Doc and Bentley, and Bentley Rolling, that's my partner in the thing. And Bentley's just a bad boy. He's considered one of the best joint rollers in the world. And he is. I mean, he's improved my joint rolling quality hanging out with him, honestly. But Bentley got my flower, and we exchanged information and contact. And he's like, "Damn, old man." And I was like, bro, and you guys get it, man. All my neighbors in my neighborhood are badass fire growers, but we're small, so it never gets to the larger market, right? It never gets to the larger market, or until now, well, I've been stifled and pushed completely out, right? So Terps by Doc and Bentley, and if you can find it, it's online, Google it. High Times, Forbes, all kinds of stuff's done articles on the thing now, but that was Bentley coming to me. He said, "Buddy, I can't let this happen." Seriously, we can't let this happen, Doc. His mission was to help get my flowers out, because he thinks what I do is really, really good, and I get what I do is good. But I have a lot of friends that have unique, one of a kinds, just like I do, that they've spent decades and decades working on, that nobody really gets to experience. That's the Terps brand, is to highlight heritage Emerald Triangle breeders in the Emerald Triangle that have true one-of-a-kind, unique terpene profiles that nobody ever gets to experience this small batch, and we can move it, now that I have the facility, move it into that realm. And we launched that thing, and it's had tremendous success right now. Is it completely flawless? Is it foolproof? No, of course not, man. Maybe a couple of potheads trying to figure it out. And it's one of our little mottos between that, man. We're just a couple of potheads trying to figure it out, man.
Yeah.
But we're approaching it real honestly with, this is a small batch. It's packaged beautifully. The presentation is amazing on it. And like I tell people, man, I'm just, crusty old veteran cannabis grower from the Triangle, man. He made me hip. I look good in a box, man, coming out of it. You've seen it, comes rolling out, and it's all this beautiful matte black finish, and the tubes are all rolled in black paper. And so when you unroll a pre-roll, man, it's a special experience. And what he and I have done, and he has done mostly, is he's developed a filter for the end of the pre-roll, Jared, that's a biodegradable hemp filter that we can custom. We were doing it for ourselves to put our logo into to do it, but now we can do this for other companies where we have this biodegradable hemp filter that loads into your pre-rolls that helps it smokes more openly. So all the cloggage issues that happens, a lot of people complain on cloggage issues and all these things. So yeah, I'm getting way into the commercial end of it, but that's part. We wanted this to be an exceptional smoking experience when you got one of our pre-rolls. That's what Bentley's famous for. He partnered with me, and now we're highlighting. My run's the first one, drop number one, Savage Farms, Savage Farms Soho. Man, Savage is a badass, and Savage is drop number two, and then I've got other cultivators that are working in this year right now that will be future drops. So they're one of a kind flowers coming into the Terps line. So when you see that on the shelf, it's supporting small cannabis farms. And I'll be real honest, Jared, what we paid our farmers to produce the flower last year was twice what the market's paying right now, which is huge for them when they're being assaulted so much on a monetary level.
Yeah, no, that's huge. They're struggling a lot, and that's good. That's great that you guys are offering that. Help out the small farmers. They need it. They need every help they can get. Right now it's tough. So yeah, that's amazing brand. One great thing about your genetics and the Terp brand is that you are one of the few breeders, one of the first as well to get patents on your genetics.
Right.
Can you walk through that process, and explain, if other farmers are watching this, how they could go about and who they should reach out to and the whole process to kind of let them know, like, if they're interested in it, what the process is and what they can look forward to? Or
Sure. Okay, so I've been doing this for a long, long time, and I've worked on a lot of stuff over the years up there in the neighborhood. When I got back into the game after taking a break, I got hurt, took a break for about 6 years. And when I got back into the game, I came in with a different mindset, Jared. I wasn't going to get encroached on. And I see what federal deregulation is going to happen. It's going to be an onslaught on genetics. Okay. And for this community, so this community knows what I'm talking about. We've seen what Monsanto did over 99-cent strawberries, and canola, and rice. And okay, these are very inexpensive food. What are they going to do with a product that has a wholesale, even beat down a wholesale value of $300 a pound, $500 a pound? It's going to be ridiculous, right? So, okay, you're a cannabis lawyer, you know what I'm saying? So, my guy, we patent everything. Now, we haven't patented all the stuff that has high medical value. I have two that are specifically bred for post-traumatic stress relief. I mean, and my big girl, man, the one that I smoke, one I'm smoking right now, is I'm saying, God, right? That blue skunk's been around for a long time in this neighborhood. She's, my baby, and it's like I've worked on it for years and years and years, and everybody kind of knows it's my baby in the neighborhood, but I never really let her out. And when Dell and I started talking about it, it's like, well, what is this one? This is a very unique plant. Now the science backs that up. Okay, well, it's warranted of having a patent on it, and that's part why I took that path. Will all of them be that way? Probably not. This first lot, though, this was a test to see. And when people get, man, I've been open source for 45, 50 years, man. I was open source before open source was hip. I've worked my ass off on a lot of this new stuff. The first two I have 26 years into, man. I'm not going to let somebody rip me off for 26 years worth of work. That's why I did it. Will it do anything? We're in that phase right now, Jared, but you kind of, you run this realm. You know what I'm talking about. I'm at least positioning myself to, if something comes up of it and someone wants it, that I'm going to get my couple of pennies off of it because they're going to make billions. And I just want to get my little part off of it. And we've been pushed out so hard. I don't think what I'm asking is out of line. They do it for records, albums, books, films, copywriting, all that. That's basically what I've done, is just put my name on it for the first time on something ever. Of all the things I've had my hands on, first time ever, put my name legally on something to go, look, I built this, and this is where it is, and it's stabilized now. And anyway.
Yeah. So the more the the process to do it. How was that for you? Did it take a long time? Was a lot of effort on your
Oh
end?
God, yeah.
Because people may think about getting a patent, but they're kind of may lean away from because it may be a lot of work.
It's a tremendous amount of
But
work.
but I find that it would be worth it to get that in the records, put it on paper that that's your genetics, and people can't rip it off. And if you do, you have a claim against them.
Right.
And so, and Dale Hunt,
Correct.
Hunt's the patent attorney. And so but on your end, was it a lot of work once you started partnering with Dale, or
it is a tremendous, okay. You can't come into this thing. If you're thinking about doing this, you can't come in and go, oh, well, you got to pay him to do it. Okay. If you want to do the work yourself, that mine and Dell's agreement. I did the legwork on it. That's why we're like bros, right? I mean, we're figuring it out together. And I'm his first one in this path of cannabis and all this other stuff. So, but the actual physical hands-on, of course, man, I'm measuring pistol lengths and, describing colors of calyx heads and all that kind of crap, man. The nodal ridges between the ridging on the leaf edge, man, the shape of the leaf, widths of everything, colors of everything, description, the veining on all the plants, all this kind of stuff has to be documented.
Yeah.
It has to be not only written down, it's got to be photographically reproduced as well. So I'm photographing stuff every step of the way while I was doing it. So it's a long project. Honestly, man, I'm not the smartest guy in the room. I was able to accomplish 3 of them, and I got number 4 working right now. How long does it take? It takes several years to get it to this point.
Yeah.
But I got it to a point first by putting a provisional patent on it. Is that I'm going to do, as you know, I'm going to do something with this. Okay. That's first year step. Took a year to get it to that first year step, to get it to where you can tie it up for a year, to move it to the utility phase where I am with the first 3 at night. Now that's the 20-year phase of that. That's the putting seeds into the hands of the system, for them to file in storage. File in storage, not to use, but to file in storage with it. So that's that phase of it right now. But the patent portion of it really is, it's like, there are ways to do it. You hire somebody, you want to do it yourself. I wanted to do it myself, so I knew what the hell was going on. So I understood it better. And there's a lot of scientific biology behind of what needs to be documented in the paperwork for it. That's the part that the breeder is doing.
Yeah.
Now, I was, as you saw, his scientist, it was her, she was working with me all through every step of the way. She was working with me.
Yeah.
I'd send it in. I need this, and this, can you get more details on this little portion, that kind of stuff, right? And it doesn't have to be completely filled in at 100%. No. There's still portions of it, like on the male end of it, like, because it's such a seasonal thing. It took me the next year, I came back and then documented all the male in portion of the plant to get the male and the female both loaded in for the paperwork on the thing. It's time consuming. It's not overly complicated. Again, I'm not the smartest guy in the room. I figured it out, and I was able to do it, and I did it correctly. And, you just got to take your time and do it, man, and be wanting to do that and protect your work and protect your baby and that kind of thing. And that's kind of what, these are all my new babies. I want to protect them. So
yeah, it's good. Because people are coming in, and, you don't want to lose what your hard work that you've been doing for decades. So it's a lot of work, but it is possible. I know some people think it's not possible to patent your genetics. It's 100% possible. And so I think it's a good idea to put in the work if anyone's interested.
If you're interested, like the guys that I had there yesterday, Canopy Rights, Jeff Hamilton's project, that's like a step in the same direction, but using blockchain to protect your work. But a lot of the protocol is almost identical to setting yourself up for your first provisional patent. It's not as detailed, but like I may mention that a lot of the steps that you take are literally the same steps of filing your first provisional patent. So if you did want to move it forward, if you used Canopy Rights, for example, or Jeff's program, which is totally free to you to do, you just have to do the legwork, and I think it's a $10 administrative fee. It's nothing for them to log it all and keep it for you. They don't see anything. They can't even access it because of the way the algorithms are written on it and the whole 9 yards. That's another one. And that's strictly just doing the legwork to protect your genetic portfolio or you're that one plant you're working with now. And if you want to move it forward, then he literally puts you at the door to do the next steps to put your provisional in place. So,
Yeah. Canopy Rights. It's a great program being developed by Jeff Hamilton. Definitely check it out. All right, let's talk about the cultivars that you patented and talk about the good stuff that everyone wants to hear about. So you currently have, correct me if I'm wrong, patent genetics, Black Apple Kush, Orange Cream Frost, Pheno Select 5, and Blue Skunk.
that is correct.
All right, that's, let's talk about those. Talk about the smell, the taste, the look, and also more importantly the effect of each one. Because I think that's that those are the type of that I think that's what Terps brand is all about, and I think that is what people are missing when they the hyped brands don't really talk about the effect, the smell, the taste, but that is what makes
Terps,
cannabis, and that's
brand,
Terps,
that's all it is, yeah.
and that is what makes the high. So if you can go into like the taste, the smell, the effect of each one, I think everyone would love that.
Oh, sure. So, briefly, I guess it isn't going to be briefly, but just in a brief on this, the four genetics are all the terpene profiles of them are each individually unique from one another. Not one in the four tastes or smells the same as you kind of experienced yesterday. It's like none of it tastes the same, none of it smells the same. I'm known as an effects breeder. That's what I do is breed for effects. So that's kind of tied it all together with what he wanted with his vision. He'd had this vision of this brand for in his own head for several years, how he had this vision. And I just kind of, like I said yesterday, I'm just the lucky bastard he picked to do it with, so that's that portion of it. So, for example, like the Blue Skunk is that's Blue Dream crossed with the Old Dave, man. Old Dave's, skunk number one. That's the Old Dave up in Humboldt, so it's like the Old Dave crossed with Blue Dream. There's that plant. And I've just worked it for 16 freaking years. Nobody even wanted it a couple of years ago, Jared. Why? Because it's a high-end sativa that's freaking yellow and blue bud. It isn't got a lick of purple in it. It doesn't meet the gassy category, but the profile for it is old school Blue Dream, as with it. As soon as you hit it, you taste that skunk coming across the back end of it. And as soon as you exhale, man, the whole room smells like skunk, right? That's that one profile. Okay, nobody even wanted that plant 5 years ago. I grew it for myself because it's my personal well-being flower, man. It's very calming. It's very relaxing. It keeps me grounded. It keeps me balanced. And that was because of the Blue Dream side of it. On the other side of Old Dave, man, when you smoked Old Dave, bruh, your back didn't hurt 20 minutes later. That's just in a nutshell. My simple old man, that's how I look at this. I wasn't thinking any way I talk about it now. I didn't talk terpenes, I didn't talk cannabinoids and CBD structures and THC variables and all the crap that I say now. I wanted a plant that my head didn't cloud with all the crap from my military career and on being incarcerated and all the other crap that I'd gone through in my life. And I wanted my back to quit hurting. Okay, now over the 15, 16 years that I've been working on it now, the data behind it, brother, its number one effects in its phyto studies is calming and relaxing. Okay, and then the backside is pain control. I knew what I was going for. Now the data backs it up. And then you look at all the testing on it, it matches. Okay, so I consider that the number two in the line, even though it's the first one. Okay, the number one in the line is the Black Apple Kush. That's the one everybody's got on.
It just smells like granny apple.
Thanks, man. Yeah. It's very unique, and again, that's me. That's my last Harley wreck. Okay, I broke my jaw, knocked my left eye out of my head, crushed my right wrist, crushed the right side of my body. I shouldn't be sitting here. I'm a big bastard, as you know. I was much bigger back then. I wasn't any taller, but I was 50 pounds heavier. So I have a lot of chest, and most people around here wouldn't recognize it. They see this skinny old man instead of the big red-haired, big red bearded dude I was. 6'5" and 260 pounds, and that whole thing, what this community remembers, right? Mm-hmm. That being said, the Black Apple was the one that I did after my last Harley wreck. That's my recovery plant I've worked on for 10 plus years now. And it really is. That's the Mendo pineapple with the Humboldt blackberry kush, man. And I just refined it over a 10-year period to what we were smoking yesterday.
Yeah, and so that one, is it a heavy high? Is it?
It's a very therapeutic flower
Yeah.
as well. I consider that a day flower too. It's a little bit higher end on the THC. Well, not, I mean, the skunk isn't screwing around. It's at 31%, man. You know, I mean, but the okay, what makes the black apple kush so unique is its osamine forward terpene. That's a very unique terp, hard to pull forward.
Yeah.
So it's osamine terpene dominant and the terpene profile of the thing. It's a mid-range, 28 on the THC, THCA level, low CBDs, like 0.7, that kind of thing. So not a lot of CBs in it, but the balance of the osamine terpenes in the plant and then the overall effect of it, it tastes amazing. It is purple, it is frosty, it has a little bit of gas on the back end of it, but it's full fruit flavored, as you know. So we have skunk and fruit in the mix now. Have a skunk dominant limonene profile a lemon profile skunk, and then we have as you said, Granny Smith apples. I've heard apple in general, or fruit, high fruit content nose to it, right? So skunk and apples, and then orange cream frost, the third one in the line. Okay, that is the orange cream cross with the raspberry kush, and I have direct access to the original raspberry from Humboldt County, so I've again through Dave, but anyway, I won't go down that rabbit hole too far. That's a orange cream frost cross with the raspberry kush. Again, selected out a very unique orange forward profile, and it literally drips mandarin orange in its terpene smells. Right? It just smells like orange, and what comes across in the flavor profile is like I've been told it smokes like an orange Julius, or orange and spices, smoky orange and spices. So now we got skunk, apples, and oranges, and then the pheno funk number 5 is my latest project, and that is my original Longvale OG crossed with the Black Dog, and BioVortex is a buddy of mine, and that's right from Bio himself to me as his male dog, Black Dog pollen, and that's what I used to cross with my original OG, and I call that the Pheno Select number 5, and it's another one that I'm working for commercial viability. That's an old school Hindu Kush with a white shark cross with a little blueberry in it back in the days up in the hills north of us here, 45 minutes or so, right? That I use with Jesse's plant, and Bio's plant is really the Black Dog. If you're not familiar with that, that's Humboldt County, and that is finishes in under 50 days indoors, right? So I wanted something commercially viable, move quick for commercial application, had the right kind of look, right kind of nose, and that's Mother Earth, man. That's dank dirt, that is Hindu Kush. That's what it smells like, tastes like, smells like, has that same use. Like smoking dirt, that whole earthy profile to it. That's this plant, So we have skunk, apples, oranges, and dirt in that first batch, and then savage. And I love Jerry to death, man, a real warrior at this thing. We're hoping to get the Savage Rose from Humboldt County. Jerry Savage's private, the rose. His rose. The Savage Rose smokes like rose water.
Yeah. Smells
like
so,
right?
Floral. And so the Pheno Select 5, what is it? Indica, sativa? What kind of?
That's indica, way indica, way. Yeah, it's heavy. It's
heavy hitter.
35%.
Gotcha.
Plus total sum, 35%. I created the plant at the request of some friends of mine that are extraction whizzes here in the States. Said, can you give us something that's over 30%? That's this plant. I can get it to 35. I'm a great breeder. I guess I've been told I'm a great breeder. I've been told I'm a great breeder, and I consider myself a good cultivator. I have friends I consider better cultivators than I am. I think they can push that into the upper 30s, maybe close to 40% total sum. For an extraction plant, that's what they want, that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's where that's at. But what it really is it's beautiful, dense, hard flowers that finish with a purple, pink, mauve sheen to them, and it smokes like Hindu Kush. You know, it's a beautiful flower to smoke, but it's no. Don't operate heavy machinery. Please put your butt on the couch. You know, take your shoes off. Say, don't, you know, stay at home when you smoke this one. That's it.
Put a
That's
movie on.
Yeah, yeah.
So those all sound amazing. Anything? You said you had one. I believe you had a fifth one that's in process right now. You want to talk about that genetics and?
I can a little bit.
Yeah,
I'm working on
tease it a
some
little
new
bit.
stuff. Yeah, sure. I've got some new stuff that I haven't really released out to the public yet. Okay, about 3 or 4 years ago, I wanted to create stuff that had full flavor and full effect, but was high in CBD as well as THC. So I've been running in that thread for the last 3 or 4 years on this news. They don't even, a lot of them even have names, you know, they just have numbers assigned to them. But the one that I'm kind of moving into the next position is a Suzy Q cross that I crossed with our old hippie trail, the 74 hippie trail that's been, you know, obviously been around for a minute. So I took the 74 hippie trail and crossed it with the Suzy Q. And what I selected out really is straight up cat pee, man. I mean, I'll be real honest. It's like kitty peed on your tennis shoes, you know, kind of smell when you touch it and everything. And again, people are, oh, that, man, I haven't smelled that and such and such. I thought, man, in my Rolodex, I'm like, man, we got one of those. So that's kind of where that one held. I'm pulling her out. And then another one that I've been working on that I'm really proud of is my Malawi Gold Mango cross that I've been working with. And it's a beautiful, beautiful flower. Most people have never seen anything like it before. The flower turns blue when it dries. It cures off to a blue haze, steel, and mauve, and just an insane flower. Malawi Gold, very, very cerebral, right? And then I crossed it with an original Casey Brains mango. And it has a beautiful mango forward-esque flower profile to it with the real high-end cerebral effects of the Malawi Gold.
Oh, yeah. I would look forward to that Maui Gold. I remember, I think I got some of that in growing up in high school, and
it's a special girl.
Yeah,
she was a special girl. Now that I'm really proud of both of those. The Malawi Gold Mango, I'm really, really excited to bring that out and let people experience that in the next couple of years. It'll come out, and the Suzy Q, my Suzy Q 74 coming out, man. I'm really proud of her too. She's I'm hoping, because she has the unique profile that she has, Jared, and also visually the look, because she does turn purple and frosty, but it's CBD rich. That's what I'm going for. You know, it's 15-15 kind of things. I'm working in that realm, you know, 2020s. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm kind of working in that realm for the 2020 stuff and get them in that range where they have a nice THC percentage, but an equal CBD, CBs, whatever, you know, CBG, CBN, CBC, CB, whatever the hell it is, whatever they're looking for.
Yeah.
Right.
What's pushing you into that ratio, into the equal ratio?
The 1-to-1s, people wanting true 1-to-1s to work with. So trying to create true 1-to-1s or 2-to-1s, 3-to-1s, that kind of thing. And if you can get them in that realm, like I have like the one that our Blueberry Zen, man, it's like that. It's in that realm. I don't know if you tried that yesterday or not. It's like a 12% THC.
Oh, yeah, no, I did.
And 17% CBG, CBN, right? That's a good daytime flower that, you know, you got a light little bit of a head, but, you know, you're calm and relaxed in your body. That's okay. There's a market that wants that. You can't even get those flowers on the shelf 5 years ago. Nobody even look at them, man. You know, you can't even look at them. You know, so now there's starting to become this awareness. It's all that. I think what we had earlier this morning, you know, education, man. You know, what I'm doing here, sharing the stories, getting out, talking about it. You asking me questions, us engaging and getting the information out to people. Yeah. Is it the whole market, brother? I don't think it is, you know, but we can touch one today, man, that help them understand a little better than what we're doing for the next hour or so is worth all the energy we're putting into it, in my book, man. So. Yeah.
And when you are pheno hunting, when you are looking to select, what are you looking for? You know, you said you got the hippie trail 74 crossing with the Suzy Q, and then the Maui Gold crossing with the mango. Why do you select those, and what's pushing you into those? Is it the effect? Is it like,
yes,
yeah,
all of the above, man. I mean, okay, old school. affect visually what I liked, how it looked when it was forming, old school. Okay, now I can take that if I like what I'm seeing looking. Now I can send it off to the lab and get get my analysis, get my data, my R&D back. Okay, what are the components of it now? Where are all the percentages at? Does this make any sense? And okay, now are we going to move forward one more time? A lot of it gets cut right then and there. A lot of like the Malawi Gold Mango Cross, that's just something that I've personally wanted for my own personal Rolodex. So I'm taking that baby and moving it forward because I want to. Now all of a sudden everybody, holy shit, everybody wants it. Is that a foresight on I don't know if, instinct maybe, I just got, I've been doing it a long time, right? When you get a winner, okay, the Black Apple Kush, I've been growing it for 10 years. She's just now, people are like, have you heard about that? Have you heard about that? Okay, I've been growing it for 10 freaking years. Just now starting to get out into outside of our neighborhood, now just getting outside of our neighborhood a little bit where people out in the state and across the country are starting to hear about it. That's just, it's a timing thing, so this new stuff that I'm working on, really like that one. I'm super, super proud of it. I think it's going to be a beautiful one down when people finally get a chance to experience it. They're going to be glad that they did. And then the whole THC CBD run stuff there's a bunch of them. There's 7 or 8 of them that I'm working in individual threads. They're all Suzy Q, Harlequin, or Trident attached. And a lot of it to the 74 because I wanted some old school stuff into it, but I pulled some other genetics into that as well. There were, Skywalker OG, a buddy of mine gave me, and a couple of other different pie face, it was given from another friend of mine. Like the pie face plant that he was working with is that whole cherry end of the runs flavor profile, right? So that portion of it is like, I took some of my friends' stuff that I liked what they were and crossed it with some of these to get them started. These old school badass CBD rich flowers that kind of nobody really even gets a hands or touch hardly anymore, unless you run that thread. So,
Awesome. I love it. I love bringing the heritage with the back into the market and introducing everyone to these great strains that you guys or cultivars that you guys been working on for decades. I can't wait to see them be introduced nationwide, to be honest with you.
That's the hope. Honestly, if we do this thing correctly, I want to make sure that I help protect what we have here as the heritage end of it, but to move it forward, man, that's the ultimate goal. And, but again, we're talking the business end of the deal, but the goal is to make it where it's available legally across the country for anybody that wants access to it. That's the ultimate goal with the thing. So,
yeah. And, when people think of this area, in my opinion, I think the first thought they think about, well, other than just great weed and growers, but mostly outdoor growers. You decide you do indoor. Can you walk through like why indoor? What's that? Why'd you go indoor rather than outdoor?
Because I got incarcerated in the mid '80s for it.
And that scared you away from outdoor?
Well, again, man, you get incarcerated and you're working outdoors. You don't want to change the game. You do change, and a lot of us went indoors in the mid '80s when we were getting hammered so hard on a federal level. A lot of us, we worked inside, and just over the years, I've perfected that craft to where, I write white pages on it. The closed loop high pressure aeroponics that's my baby, so I run gas injected closed loop high pressure aeroponics, under cutting edge technology on my lighting. And, it's like, my indoor realm is like considered what I would consider my medical facility, where I know I'm creating pristine medical grade flower at the highest quality for medical patients. Now I have a medical and recreational licensing both in Humboldt, but that allows me to continue that thread. And then I still work with all the outdoor farmers to bring their flower in and projects that I'm working on and stuff like that. So, I keep my hands in all realms of it still, but for the facility, it honestly is the only way for me to compete anymore, Jared. I can't, if I want to compete and be able to succeed at this, then I have to be smart about my business, and I still was a bloodbath last year to keep the doors open, but just how do you do it? My production cost per pound is minuscule in comparison to everybody else because of the methodology that I run indoors by comparison.
Yeah. And you mentioned, that it's a bloodbath last year, and that you do it for straight business reasons. And there's a lot of people struggling up here, and a lot that part of that is because they're fighting against corporate venture backed big cannabis. And so, what do you that there's an ongoing fight between the craft small growers up here and then big cannabis coming into California. And so, what do you think about the future of cannabis farmers up here in this area, in the Emerald Triangle? What do you think about where that's going? How, and what needs to happen to keep them alive and keep them producing?
Oh my God. Well, people are going to have to support us, man. They're going to have to support craft. They're going to have to support heritage farmers. They're going to have to get smart at the counter and ask. You can't just take what the bud tender sticks in their hands. I'm talking about the retail consumer. They're going to have to engage. We're trying to do our best to brand that, we're small, independent. You're going to have to engage the bud tenders, flip the box over, read, see who's producing the flower. One of the things I tell, because I know you've heard me speak it before, it's like one of the things I tell the consumer, if they're unaware, when you're standing there 300 pre-rolls on the shelf, man, is you look at the packaging that is maybe not the fanciest or the most kind of looks like maybe it was done at home. It very well could have been done at home. But him and his old lady putting 300 joints into their fancy packaging to launch their brand. And if you don't buy it, they're going to go away. I've worked I've worked my ass off to be in the position of where I am now. I'm an old man and I worked really hard when I should be retiring and going to sit play with my grandkids to be not even focusing on this because I wasn't going to get kicked to the side. I was tired of being insulted. I was tired of being undervalued for my flower. Wanting it to be pre 1999, man, pre 1985, pre 1980, pre 75, all that stuff when we commanded a premium for our flower here. What the youngsters now, they've been growing up, been growing for 20 years or less. They don't have a clue, man, because they came into a market that was where it was beat down to under a couple $1,000s a pound. Back in the day, we got $5, $6, $7, $8,000 a pound for our flower.
Yeah.
And we had that conversation yesterday. So guys talk recanting. Remember some of the original first OGs were coming out that they were commanding in excess of $8,000-9,000 a pound for them wholesale.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
now $300.
Yeah.
$400. And taxes are $168, and you have to pay a trimmer $150. You got a cheap trimmer, $100, but $150 to $200 to trim a pound of flower for you. You got over $300 in fixed costs, and the flowers wholesaling for $400. They're done, brother.
Yeah. So what do you envision how to push it forward, push the agenda forward for the small craft growers up here, because they're fighting against people who can throw money at it, and it's like we talked about, it's all about consumer education. This plays a little part in it. So do you imagine it switching? Do you imagine that the consumers are going to get educated and come towards the craft at some point?
They are now.
Yeah.
I mean, okay. Again, thank you, Bentley. Bentley opened the door and gave me a voice. And I'm just one guy, man. I'm not the answer. I'm just one guy trying to save his own ass right now, but he gave me a voice on a large national platform to be able to scream at people about, as you know. Now, all of a sudden I've said something, and look what's happened in the last year. All these big MSOs and these big brands we're supporting heritage farmers. They're all trying to get their own play. They're all trying to make their own little deal. And it's because Bent opened the door on it, man. And he's part of that. He is part of that. He branded a lot of them. He's a branding whiz, as you know. He's worked with some major cannabis companies, made a lot of people a lot of money. He's like, he told me, he said, dude, I'm making them rich and you guys are going out of business and you guys are the ones that are doing it. And he spent the last year with me up here seeing them on their farms, being with them, seeing what meager, humble people they really are and what beautiful lifestyles we really do have, and then we love the plant and we're only producing 5 pounds of it. And part of it, when it's gone, kids. And that's part of the beauty of the brand. Mm-hmm. It really is small batch heritage craft. So when that particular flower run's gone, you won't ever see it again. Now, there may be a repeat. As you know, there's going to be a repeat. I'm growing the blue skunk I'm growing all my genetics right now for another drop in the line. but that's supporting what I'm doing. My goal is to add other farmers into the line to support them as well. We're going to have the big guys get on board because consumers are going to have to engage.
Yeah.
If that become a concerted effort, brother, how many times have you heard me say this in the last month? It's going to be Walmart weed in 10 years if we don't get on board, man.
Yeah. Yeah, the consumers really need to be aware and watch out, because they're going to have limited options if they don't start asking and requesting and looking for the crafts. So it is a concern. It's an effort, communal effort, to push it forward. So you mentioned that your genetics was Terps 1.0, Savage Farms coming out, Terps 2.0. What's the future for Terps? Terps 3.0, 4.0. You mentioned also that you're going to bring in some small farmers. Walk us through like
Sure.
the future plans for Terp.
If it comes out the way I want it to come out,
100%.
Okay. If it comes out the way we're trying to develop the line out, is to every season add a new small farmer to the line and showcase what they do. And when we're there. Okay, we send in our film crew, our people, do all the recording, kind of like they did with me, what we did with Savage. The next guys that are in line coming down the pipe. I got 2 more farms that are coming in over this next year. We're in that negotiation right now of how it's moving forward. So we're trying to figure all that out as well. It's business. It's complicated, but if it plays out the way we want to do, it's the second drop will be Savage Farms, and the third drop will be probably me again, and then the fourth drop, if I get the ones I want, I'll have Soham Royal in there at some point, and Bryceland Forest Farms will be in there at some point. I'm talking to some other small farmers that do really special what they do in their valley better than, maybe not everybody, but they're really good at what they do in their particular neck of the woods. That's these small farmers that I'm coming to talk to. Yeah. One of my criteria. So you're not going to get somebody that's been growing flower for less than 2 decades at this. If they started in 2000 and anything, they're not even in this conversation. All these farmers and crafters have been in it for at least 20 plus years. That's where it's at. Now, will there be some farmers that started in 2000, 2001, 2? Yes, maybe, but not after I get the first ones highlighted. Yeah, Jerry's been at it for over 40 freaking years, man. Sean's young, but he's been doing it for 30 freaking years. Almost 30 years. Mm-hmm. Awesome. Daniel, the same thing with his farm. And Daniel and his partner, man, they're just like they're the epitome of regenerative farming in general, but then they vegetables, flowers, all the whole 9 yards, and then throw cannabis on top. It's just like these little small niche, one of a kind mom and pops that don't get a lot of play or limited access to. That's what I'm trying to find. And I don't know them all. I know a lot of them. I'm trying to find them. I have my friends that know me that when and I say that to everybody, if you know somebody I need to be talking to, tell me so I can go sit down with them. Look, we can try and help move this forward for you. Yeah. If we don't, we're done, man. I mean, it's as simple as that. So.
Yeah, you guys really got to work together, come together.
Have to
push the message forward.
Have to.
Yeah. And so you mentioned a little bit people can find Terps. Where can people find?
You can find Terps at Pharmacy Berkeley, the Bud and Bloom in Santa Ana, the Pottery in LA, and I think it's the pharmacy in Santa Barbara. So 4 locations. Those 4 locations will be coming out this month in May. Leaving my facility Monday. Is that tomorrow? Monday? I don't know what day it is. Tomorrow. Leaving my facility tomorrow to go to the locations. They should be on the shelves in a couple weeks, man. Literally.
Check them out.
And those particular stores is a black box that says Terps by Doc and Bentley on it. It's a quarter jar release right now. And you're supporting Heritage Craft Farmers by supporting that brand. It's a beautiful, beautiful flower presentation. We're very, very proud of it. And you can find it in those 4 locations exclusively right now. We're working with those locations exclusively on this project for the next couple of drops.
Yeah. And you talked a lot about your flowers and whatnot. But if you could kind of wrap it up, and if you could explain what sets Terps flowers apart from other flowers that people can find.
That's so easy. Thank you. What a great question. So, what separates Terps flower? Okay, Terps is a very generic word, ladies and gentlemen. It's like if we called it weed by Doc and Bentley. Okay, that's really what Terps is to us. This is just a way to move it forward. But Terps by Doc and Bentley, what you get with that is every different flower profile in it tastes different. Nothing in the lineup tastes like anything of what you smoke in commercial market at all in any form or fashion. None of it tastes like anything that's commercially out there. And what I'm told by over and over and over again is the bulk of the commercial market tastes the same. This is far removed from that. So
Get your special product. Awesome. Thank you. And before we leave, if there's anything we haven't talked about, anything you want to address, anything you want, a message or a statement, now's the time. Let people know.
Cool. Ladies and gentlemen, support small cannabis farms. Support the small mom and pops, the one-man operations, the small operations, the independents. If you don't support them, there is a concerted play by big multi-state operators and corporate cannabis, as you know, sir, because you were in that field, to push these players out over the next 10 years. And I believe that is an active war that's happening right now. Engage, be smart, ask questions, search out small craft cannabis independent farmers over commercial farmers, or you're going to get left with Walmart weed in the next 10 years.
No one likes Walmart weed. And Doc, thank you again. It's been a pleasure. This whole weekend's been great. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Go find Terps.